Yesterday we said that in accordance with this expression, Adasamapaniti, we are cultivating one's mind, our mind, in the right way. And in doing so, as the objects arise continuously, in order to note these objects which are targeted in our practice, we need these special energies, such as aiming or focusing, which is a jhanic factor, and the exertion of energy. These two powers are very important. Once you are fulfilled with these two mental powers, your noting mind is bound to be connected with the object of attention, as according to the characteristic of sati, the noting mind penetrates the object of attention. And in this way, the function of sati will also become obvious as much as the noting mind penetrates the object. The function, namely, one does not lose sight of the object to be noted, so that the noting mind will become concurrent with the object of attention. And as much as one is able to do that, one's mind will be protected from impurities, such as the manifestation of mindfulness. In other words, it will be manifested in the yogi's mind that yogi's mind is protected from impurities. And the reason for this is you are activating attention on the object in the body, whether the object is good or bad. And you do it with steadfast recognition, called Sanya Padatthana, which is the approximate cause of activating mindfulness. Then sati will be sustained on the object. The noting mind will be connected with the object. It will not scatter or wander away. Instead, it will fall unified on the object of attention. According to this expression, Avekripo Samadhi, the concentration has the characteristic of not scattering or wandering. And the noting mind will fall calm and connected on the object, giving rise to concentration known as momentary concentration, Khanika Samadhi. As such, the Khanika Samadhi will not be strong in one unit or in one moment of concentration. However, when you continuously cultivate this momentary concentration many times, then it will accumulate into a wonderful energy, because the Khanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes continuous, moment after moment. And also, initially you are taking an aim at the object. You are making this practice so that at this stage the noting mind will automatically be connected with the object of attention, cultivating knowledge, observing the true nature of these objects. In a way, you become familiar with this knowledge, or the noting mind will become familiar with knowledge, seeing the realities. Because of this vitaka, aiming or applying, this application or aiming serves as an intermediary to familiarize the noting mind with the object of attention. We shall continue on this topic today. The concentration samadhi has its qualities in terms of natural characteristics, lakkhana, function, rasa, manifestation, paccupatthana. It has the characteristic of non-scattering. Non-scattering is its nature, called avekripo samadhi. Because the mind does not scatter or wander about from the object to be noted, the noting mind falls unified on the object of attention. Such is the characteristic of concentration. And it has the function of collecting, unifying associated mental states, consolidating them in one place, known as Samvedasa Rasa. This is its function. Let us say when you are watching the abdomen and noting rising and falling with full commitment, that is taking an aim and exertion of energy, you are bound to be connected with the object of attention. And because you are sustaining this mindfulness, you are bound to deepen your concentration. The noting mind will fall calm and collected on the object of attention, which is the function of this concentration. As mindfulness fatigue is penetrating or sinking into these objects, such as rising and falling, the noting mind tends to unify and consolidate and collect associated mental states into one place, which is again a function, so that the result is that one will not be agitated or afflicted by impurities or afflicted emotions such as raga, craving or lust. Instead, the mind will feel calm and collected, because it is not afflicted by impurities. Such is the manifestation of concentration. As the noting mind is noting this every arising object, there will be kanika samadhi, moment after moment, and you are accumulating it, so that as the kanika samadhi, momentary concentration, becomes strengthened, you are bound to cultivate knowledge by seeing the true nature of these objects, seeing the natural phenomena which we have discussed at one time, like the case of food. When you are taking food, every item of food has its individual flavor or individual characteristic. So to every object has its individual essence or individual characteristic. We call it natural phenomena. And we cultivate knowledge by opening our mind to wisdom or knowledge. That is panya. We are cultivating wisdom. Because the concentration has the function of illuminating the object, so that the object becomes very obvious, very clear, so that there will be no impurities, such as the hindrance of sense desire, hindrance of ill will, hindrance of sloth and torpor, hindrance of restlessness and worry, a hindrance of skeptical doubt, which are undermining agents, which are afflictive emotions. So you are seeing the rising and falling in a very clear-cut manner, because the object becomes clear by being illuminated. So as one notes rising, one is bound to observe the sensations of stiffness, tension, and when one notes falling, there will be relaxation and movement. All these things are natural phenomena. They are the individual characteristics, and you are seeing them in a clear-cut manner as your noting mind falls unified on that object, cultivating, opening up opening to knowledge, or knowledge arises very clearly. Like when an object is seen in light, you are bound to observe this light, observe this object very clearly, without any delusion or fogginess. There will be no delusion. Instead, you will be seeing it in a clear-cut manner. Hence, this function of asamasa rasa. You are seeing things without delusion or undiluted knowledge. In order to cultivate knowledge, we need to concentrate our mind, which is the proximate cause of cultivating knowledge, or proximate cause of knowledge. So if we want to observe the true nature of things, all you have to do is just practice with full commitment, and as much as you do, you are bound to cultivate concentration, kanika samadhi, momentary concentration. So that noting mind, as much as noting mind is concurrent with the object, you are bound to see the true nature of the objects noted. And you accumulate these moments of knowledge. And to do that, you need to sink into the object, instead of scattering your mind, scattering away from the object or wandering away from the object. So this is what you should understand. Understanding this, it is important to cherish and appreciate the practice. Then you'll be able to practice respectfully and carefully, so that the noting mind will be continuous and they will be closely knitted, so to speak. Only then you will be able to cultivate these mental powers. Like when you have individual fibers, or cotton or any fiber, individual fiber or each fiber will not be strong enough. Whereas when you intertwine many fibers, then they will become a very strong one, very powerful. They are going to develop very powerful, wonderful energy. So too in the practice, as you activate mindfulness, and your mind becomes strong, you are bound to open to knowledge. The knowledge will open up, blossom clearly. There's no need to fantasize or intellectualize about the nature of the objects, what it is, how it is, and so on. Because you are seeing these without any delusion. You are seeing these objects in a clear-cut manner. Such is the manifestation of concentration, or manifestation of knowledge, given as asamosa pachipadana, manifestation of non-delusion. Such is the quality of knowledge. In order to realize this kind of knowledge, you must fulfill your kanika samadhi, momentary concentration. And in order to cultivate momentary concentration, you must activate your mindfulness, so that the noting mind will be sustained on the object of attention. And in order to activate mindfulness, you must apply these mental powers, namely energetic aim. So as much as you aim and exert energy, so when you are doing these two powers also, you are doing it in a consistent manner. Sometimes you may not be aiming it properly, you may be excessively aiming it. In this case, you apply this correct attention, known as yoniso manasikara, or adjusting your focusing power and energy. By adjusting it, you are straightening your path of insight. In this way, because you are doing this, you'll be able to cut through to knowledge. This is realizing samadhi, right view or right understanding. This kind of right view or right understanding is gained not through hearsay or from the books or from the teachers, but from your own personal experience. In order to be obvious, let us take out a model or an example. As the yogi is about to sit down, there is first the intention to sit, or the wish or the desire to sit down. And this desire or intention happens in stages, not just one moment, but many moments of intentions, leading to or resulting in the actual sitting process, the body coming down, heaviness with pressure slowly down, and this will be observed by a dedicated yogi, because the intention also will be in stages, in not just one moment, and the sitting down process also will be stages in accordance with the stages of intention. So the intention to sit down is called mentality, nama, and the actual sitting down, the body coming down heavily, is materiality, rupa. So in this way we have two things, nama and rupa, mentality and materiality, or mind and body. As a result of this, the mental group or stages of mentality, there arise the stages of materiality or material group. So at the moment of sitting, these two things happen. These two groups happen. That is the series of intention and the series of sitting process. As one applies the principles of Satipatthana in a definite and radical way, one is bound to observe these things. Otherwise, if one is not activating mindfulness, instead one is leaving the mind uncontrolled, not controlling the mind, not exerting energy, and so as to sink like a stone thrown into the water, as we have once discussed about the quality of sati. The mind will be scattering about, and it will be helter-skelter, going about here and there without any control, without any restraint, so that one will be overcome by greed or craving in respect of the desirable things, events or objects, and one will be overcome by the ill will or anger or hatred when one encounters undesirable objects or events. That is because the noting mind is not connected with the object of attention. Instead, the noting mind is removed or scattering from the object, which is known as uddhacca, the restlessness. And all sorts of such undesirable things will happen because the mind is not properly controlled. So, every time you are able to control your mind and activate mindfulness, you are bound to concentrate your mind. Otherwise, there will be no concentration. And because you are applying this energy in order to note the arising object, the noting mind will be sustained on the object of attention. In accordance with the saying, one should guard one's mind with vigilant mindfulness of every arising. So, as you activate mindfulness, the mind will not go elsewhere. There will be non-scattering. Instead, the mind will fall calm and collected on the object of attention, cultivating or opening, cutting through to knowledge. You don't have to look for knowledge purposely, but knowledge will arise as you deepen your concentration. There's no need for intellectualization or fantasies as to what is this and how is this and so on. The knowledge will open up automatically, and this is very important. There's no room for thoughts at this moment. If you are indulging in thoughts or fantasies, it will be just conceptual knowledge, not the real one. You must give priority to the real knowledge, the experiential knowledge. Only the experiential knowledge is valuable. If you think what you imagine as a knowledge, it will be only conceptual knowledge, not the real one. You will not be observing the intrinsic nature of the objects. You will not be observing the natural phenomena. So at this stage, you should stop thinking. Instead, one should practice strictly in accordance with the teachings or instructions of the teacher. Now, in order to do that, one must practice strictly in accordance with the instructions, without any thoughts. One should practice. This kind of practice is not for those who are indulging in thoughts or fantasies or intellectualization. Instead, when one is practicing, one must rush or plunge one's noting mind into the object, so that noting mind will be connected firmly with the object of attention, with vigilant mindfulness, without any hesitation. Because in the body are these objects rising continuously in a subtle manner, so it is necessary to be connected with these objects in all the four postures. And whenever you are changing postures, you don't do it very quickly. Instead, you reduce the speed of movement. You reduce the speed of movement to 0. That means doing it slowly like a sick person. And as we've said, for those dedicated yogis who are doing it respectfully, they are bound to see things in their true nature. And they are bound to see the nature of mentality, as one notes the intention to sit down and the materiality of the sitting down process, which occur in stages, but not one moment. And then you'll be able to understand that. So at the moment of sitting, if you are able to activate mindfulness in this way, you are bound to see two things, namely Nama and Rupa, in a distinct manner, thus you'll be able to discern mind and body. So at the very moment of sitting, you do it very slowly, and you'll observe the mentality, that is the intention to sit, and the materiality, that is the actual sitting process. In this way, you see, you observe the mind and body differently, and such is the discernment of mind and body. And at that moment, at the moment of sitting, you see only two things, that is the intention to sit, which is the cause, and the result, which is the sitting process. And there's nothing else, just these two things. And there's no such thing as atta, self or soul, only mind and body. So initially you might have thought that there was such a thing as atta, self or soul. They are just extra things, they are non-existent. Now you observe very clearly the existence of mind and body. So at the very moment of sitting, you might initially think that it is I who is sitting, or the one who is sitting is I. And then everything is done by I. So now as one sees the realities at the very moment of sitting, instead of holding the view of atta, that is view of individuality, view of self or soul, that is view of the existence of personal, the supreme self or supreme soul, and individual self or individual soul, you will see only mind and body. Now as regards this supreme self or soul, it is taken as Maha Brahma, the great Brahma, Supreme Being, and the Jiva Ada, the individual self or soul, which is said to exist in the body of the individual, is known as Jiva Ada, individual self or soul. It is known to exist in the individual person. So this individual self or soul is at the command of the Supreme. It is said as existing at the command of the Supreme self or soul. And then the quality of individual self or soul is like this. Everyone has this self or soul, the individual self or soul, and it has its qualities, it has its powers, and each self or soul is different from another. That is, depending on the nature of the person or the being. For instance, an ant, a small animal, has got very small self or soul, and a big animal like an elephant has got a big one. And then this Adda self or soul is said to be permanent. It never perishes. Instead, it changes when the body dies and when the body breaks up. The individual self or soul is said not to die. Instead, it is transferred into another living body. So, in this way, the qualities of individual self or soul have been given, but they are wrong views, distorted views. Now, when a dedicated yogi is noting whatever arises at the moment of sitting, he or she is observing just mind and body, and there's nothing extra besides these two things. There are only two things. One will come to know in a clear-cut manner. And originally maybe one may be holding wrong views, which are wrong view of the existence of things which are actually non-existent. Now, with the cultivation of Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, as it deepens, one's mind is bound to open up to the realities of things observed, that is, knowing things as they are. Therefore, Kanika Samadhi, momentary concentration, is in the main, is important, is the criteria. So, to come to this stage, to cultivate knowledge, one must deepen one's concentration, and in order to deepen concentration, one must activate mindfulness. As one deepens one's concentration, Kanika Samadhi, the knowledge will open up automatically, and seeing things as they are. Then one will be free of the view of Jiva Ada, or individual, the view of individual self or soul, which actually is non-existent. And if we practice mindfulness in the spirit of Satipatthana, we are bound to see mind-body in a clear-cut manner. And this is just straightening your mental process and molding your mind to know mind and body, and to be clear-cut about the existence of Jiva Ada or not. And because you are knowing the realities, you will be able to overcome wrong views. But you can overcome this wrong view only when you realize the path of mundane knowledge, that is Sarvana. There will be no view of Ada, because the mind is properly molded at this moment. Hence, Ada Samabhadidi, cultivating one's mind in the right way, or molding one's mind in the right way. As one is able to discern mind and body, this kind of knowledge is through your own experience, through your own meditation, but not from just imagination or conceptual knowledge, or from from hearsay or from the books, or from ordinary mindfulness, you are seeing the realities through your own practice, because you are seeing in a clear-cut manner. If you see clear-cut manner, you'll be able to report in a clear-cut manner, not from imagination or conceptual knowledge. And teachers also know whether you are reporting from conceptual knowledge or the real knowledge. And if one is dedicated, one is bound to be able to report in a very clear-cut manner. So you're bound to see mind and body at the moment of sitting or standing. And if you, otherwise you will not be able to know cause and effect. And if you don't know cause and effect, you'll be holding the view of causelessness. And if you don't know cause and effect, you will hold the view of existence of Mahabrahma, the Creator. Also, if you don't know the relevant cause giving rise to relevant effect, you will be thinking that somebody is creating it. So, this Supreme Being, Mahabrahma, is said to be all-knowing and just one and only one. It has no suffering, mental suffering or physical suffering. But in the text is given that since the Brahma has no kaya prasada, that is physical body sensitivity, the Brahmas will not feel any physical suffering or bliss. And Brahmas have no dosa, no anger, so there cannot be any mental distress. So there cannot be any mental distress. And then it is assumed that Brahma created the world, both animate and inanimate. Now when you are sitting because of your intention to sit. Where is the Mahabrahma? Mahabrahma is not doing it. You are seeing only the intention, which is the mentality, resulting in the cause and the effect, namely the sitting process. So there cannot be any Brahma which is causing the sitting process or intention to sit. So as you understand this cause and effect, you are bound to see things in their true nature, and you will know the non-existence of the Supreme Brahma. There's only the intention to sit and sitting process. That's all for today.